Hi, this is New Time on Silkway TV channel. We introduce you with the most visible news and important events that happened throughout this week in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. More details on politics, economy, social and cultural life with opinions from the most recognizable experts of Kazakhstan and world. I'm Dorian Sagulov and this is what you'll see today. President Tokayev delivered the State of the Nation address. What to expect in the new political season in Kazakhstan. The international conference Astana Finance Days took place in the capital. What were the forward-thinking minds of the global financial sector discussing? 5,000 kilometers behind, Turkish family traveled to Kazakhstan on a camper van to see the World Nomad Games. Modern nomads in our studio in a couple of minutes. And let us start with the most significant political event of the week, which in fact will shape the political and economic landscape of Kazakhstan for the years to come. The head of state delivered an annual State of the Nation address. The president highlighted the main challenges facing the country and proposed solutions. This time, the focus was on the budget deficit, infrastructure issues, economic growth and digitalization. It is important to know that most of the tasks outlined by the president are not meant to be completed within a single year. These are medium to long-term projects. You will find more about this in the following report. September in Kazakhstan doesn't just bring the rainy autumn season, it also marks the start of the new political season. Familiar figures, officials and deputies return to our TV screens and their offices, and the main storyline for the year ahead is laid out in the President's State of the Nation address. This document is most closely monitored in the terms of government performance. The effectiveness of the address is used to rate the professionalism of the entire state apparatus. This year, the key priorities remain unchanged: business development, attracting investment, and diversifying the economy. The president began his speech by briefly summarizing the success of current initiatives. He noted that despite geopolitical tensions, Kazakhstan has firmly adhered to a peaceful path.
We have set a new course for development, giving fresh momentum to economic diversification. Inflation has slowed, dropping by 2.5 times compared to last year's peak. The country's international reserves now exceed $100 billion. The manufacturing sector is growing faster than the mining sector. It is crucial to maintain this momentum. We need to launch a new investment cycle and make effective use of a foundation we've laid.
The president then moved on to specific measures. He urged officials to manage the budget efficiently and avoid unnecessary spending. In 2023, the budget deficit exceeded $6 billion. This is a chronic issue, the president emphasized, and called for stricter control.
We must eliminate excessive spending on tasks that are not urgent or strategic. Order must be restored in interbudgetary relations. The decision to leave tax revenues from small and medium-sized businesses in the regions was timely and correct. It provided a significant boost to entrepreneurship. However, some officials, having gained an additional income source, have been using it carelessly on secondary tasks and projects with little benefit to the state.
The banking sector also came under scrutiny. Banks should be investing more in the economy but have not been doing so, which may lead to higher taxes on the sector, specifically in proportion to shareholder dividends.
International experts rank Kazakh banks among the most profitable in resource-rich countries. Thus, the discussion includes fair taxation of this sector. We also need a stable regulatory environment for digital assets and secure implementation of innovations in banking. A new law on banks is required, one of that meets the current challenges of stimulating economic activity and further development of the fintech sector.
Investment in the economy is the lifeblood of any developing state. The president stressed the urgency of attracting capital right now. Kazakhstan already has what it needs: an investment headquarters within the government, rich natural resources, and space for business projects. Yet the potential is far from fully realized.
We need to intensify efforts in this direction to prevent a decline in direct investment. I want to point out that not all regional leaders and ministers are sufficiently involved in attracting investors. I instruct the government to identify large-scale projects that can be financed by international financial organizations through public-private partnerships.
Kassym-Jomart Tokayev also emphasized that the state's role in the economy remains too large. negatively affecting private initiatives. At the same time, the president warned oligarchs of their social responsibility, suggesting that big businesses should engage in philanthropy more actively.
These individuals, as citizens of our country, must invest significant funds in building schools, hospitals, stadiums, museums, and other social and cultural facilities. Their names could be remembered in the golden list of philanthropists.
The president put forward over 100 initiatives, all of which are long-term. These include building gas processing plants at major fields and developing transport infrastructure, considering Kazakhstan's position as a Eurasian transport hub. Another critical point in the address was the reminder of human values. The president stated that there should be no discrimination in Kazakhstan, be it linguistic, religious, ethnic or social. The country must be free of all forms of prejudice, and as a progressive nation, it must lead by demonstrating prudence. Dorian Sagulov, New Time. More exclusive content from the President's State of the Nation address is as usual in Silkway's special project, Reporter with President. My colleague Ainur Mangali interviewed the key Kazakh decision makers prior and after the head of state's speech to know details, emotions and expectations for the days to come. Do not miss the new episode this weekend. In his address, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev announced the date for the referendum on the construction of a nuclear power plant. The nationwide vote will take place on October 6. The president has already signed the relevant decree. He highlighted the urgent need for reliable and clean energy sources to address the country's growing energy deficit and called on citizens to make a well-considered decision on the issue. The upcoming referendum, in President Tokayev's view, will be another manifestation of broad national dialogue and a vivid example of the listening state concept. While Parliament views the plant as a boost to industrial development, environmentalists argue against its necessity. For more on Kazakhstan's nuclear ambitions, see our explainer section.
The Central Election Commission has outlined the process for the upcoming referendum on building a nuclear power plant. With 1 month to prepare it, the Commission has already complied voter lists with over 12 million eligible citizens. The ballot will feature a single question: do you agree with the construction of a nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan? An information campaign will soon start to guide voters on how and where to cast their ballots. According to the Commission data, more than 10,000 polling stations will be set up, including 78 abroad. Ballots will be dispatched to these locations a day before the vote, and results will be announced within a week.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs plans to invite representatives from 5 international organizations to observe the referendum. Approximately 150 foreign media outlets have already been accredited, with around 50 journalists expected to arrive from abroad.
Support for nuclear energy is 1.5 times higher than opposition, according to a global survey made by Radiant Energy Group. The study, which surveyed over 20,000 people in 20 countries, shows a preference for nuclear power. Richard Ollington, partner at Radiant Energy Group, stated that nuclear energy is now the most reliable thermal energy source. With rising electricity demand and escalating climate issues, Ollington emphasized that while renewable energy alone isn't sufficient, a mix of green and nuclear energy is crucial for the future.
If Kazakhstan needs to meet the electricity demands of 10, 20, 30 years' time, nuclear should absolutely be considered part of the mix. There's also a question of wind and solar should be invested in, but they have their downsides around intermittency. They're not able to produce electricity every hour of the day when Kazakhstan's people want to use electricity. And therefore, you want a source of electricity that can balance with that can produce electricity when the wind and the solar aren't producing electricity. That way, people in Kazakhstan can have electricity whenever they want it.
The debate over constructing a nuclear power plant in the country has been ongoing for a while. A part of it, nationwide public hearings have taken place, showcasing a broad spectrum of opinions. Thus, some activists raised concerns about environmental risk, as the preliminary project on NPP includes building 2 pressurized water reactors, and the proposed sites for the nuclear power plant include the village of Ulkian on the shores of Lake Balkhash or the city of Kurchatov, formerly the center of the closed Semipalatinsk test site. The issue of building a nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan is also important because the country has a history related to nuclear weapons testing on its territory. The Semipalatinsk polygon for testing Soviet nuclear devices seen its first explosion in 1949 and its last in 1989 with a total of 456 nuclear tests conducted. According to the Ministry of Energy of Kazakhstan, with the global shift toward carbon neutrality, a nuclear power plant is the only viable option for replacing old capacities and ensuring the country's energy independence.
Nuclear safety is a global concern, not limited to one country. Any nuclear facility is under continuous scrutiny from international financial organizations, which have unrestricted access at all stages to ensure global recognition. Transparency is key, and by implementing open book contracting, where all information about contractors and production costs is disclosed, we aim to provide full transparency to the public.
Kazakhstan has not yet chosen a partner for the nuclear power plants, with proposals from France, South Korea, China and Russia under consideration. Details on the budget or cost per kilowatt are still pending, but officials are discussing the plants with 2 reactors totaling 2,800 megawatts. If approved, construction is expected to take 8 years and cost up to $12 billion. By now, a recent survey made by the Kazakhstan Institution for Strategic Studies showed that 53% of Kazakhs support the project. But the certain answer of the future of NPP construction in Kazakhstan will be defined on the referendum's results on October 6. Baljan Samigulina, New Time.
French energy giant Électricité de France is poised to provide advanced technology and training as a prospective partner for Kazakhstan's first nuclear power plant. In an exclusive interview with the New Times reporter, EDF's General Director for Central Asia, Pierre-Paul Otenissan, revealed that while Kazakh professionals will lead the project, EDF's French technologies are able to play a key supporting role. Otenissan also emphasized the potential for a comprehensive energy strategy that includes nuclear, hydro, wind and solar power to address Kazakhstan's current and future energy needs. As Kazakhstan considers its options among various international contenders, EDF is committed to working closely with Kazakh authorities to ensure an informed decision for voters at the upcoming referendum. For more details on EDF's plans to support Kazakhstan's nuclear ambitions, watch interview right now.
Thank you very much for joining us. As far as I know, Kazakhstan is now considering to build its first nuclear power plant in the country, and EDF is one of the possible partners in this matter. What exactly conditions and decisions can your organization propose to our country, please?
We just continue the very rich dialogue that we have with the Kazakh authorities at different level, political level and technical level. So there are a lot of exchange between the specialists. We have also some young Kazakh engineers learning and being trained in France. And we believe a lot in that, that we have to train the capacity of Kazakhstan, to build this capacity, to help Kazakhstan developing its own capacity, because in the future, if there is a decision in favor of EDF, the plant which will be built here in Kazakhstan will not be a French plant, it will be a Kazakh plant, managed by Kazakh, and on the future, that's only Kazakh people who will do it. We are here just to propose the technology and propose the services and as an EPC contractor. So it means that we will bring that, but we will not manage everything. That will be a Kazakh project and a Kazakh plant.
So what exactly do you propose? I mean, what generations, what technologies, within how many years, within which budget?
We always do what the client wants. We know that currently the dialogue is on small modular reactors, and this is, if this is the technology which Kazakhstan would like to have, this is what we will propose. So that's and we believe it's very good and very wise choice, but this is we are an industrial company, and we will do what the client wants to do.
Speaking of EDF activity in France itself and worldwide, what amount of electricity is being contributed by your agency and your company in France and worldwide?
We are a French company.
Yes.
So we provide electricity to the French market, but not only. But let's take the example of France. In France, about 70% of all electricity produced in France is from nuclear origin. We have 56 nuclear plants all over the country of France. We also...
but small ones, yes?
No, these are big ones. These are very big ones. So we are a nuclear country, but we have a very good energy mix, because 91% of the electricity produced in France is zero net. So it means no emission of CO2, 91%. Of course, the objective is to have 100% of no emission at all. But this is...
So there is still a risk, yes? Side effects that can give some negative effects to the environment and people, no?
No, for the moment, for the moment there is no emission, so it's very good for ecology, and this is the trend that we continue. Of course, we invest in renewable energy, so wind, solar. We have a lot of hydroelectricity because of the geography of France. We have mountains, we have rivers, so we can develop and for many years hydroelectricity. This is, by the way, something we would like to propose also to Kazakhstan.
To combine, right, renewables plus MPP.
Hydro in the south, because you have the mountains, the lakes, and there is already hydro, but quite old. So there is possibility to modernize it, maybe to develop new hydro infrastructure. Wind energy, because there is big possibility, of course, here in Kazakhstan. Why not solar in the south also? The conditions are there for a very good mix. So wind energy, solar, hydro combined with nuclear. Why? That would be exactly the mix that we have in France. Maybe not at the same proportion, because more than 70% of nuclear energy in France. I don't think this is an objective for Kazakhstan, but to have some of this, because you always need a reliable source of energy to make sure that people of Kazakhstan will always benefit from electricity.
And now there are 4 companies that are in shortlist for being a partner of Kazakhstan in this regard. Can we talk about the possible creation of international consortium to build NPP?
Kazakh is a big territory. Kazakhstan is a very big territory. Maybe there are possibilities for different projects. I don't know. But what I want to say is that we are, as EDF, very committed to work. We are a very peaceful country. We have excellent relations with Kazakhstan. There are many French companies operating in the country. That's it. That's one project that we'll be very happy to develop together with Kazakhstan. Maybe one word, when how we see the cooperation is, as mentioned, we want to, first of all, develop the capacity. That's here. We don't want to impose any choice. The choice will be discussed jointly with the Kazakh authorities, but we want just to make sure that the people who will take the decision, they are fully aware of all the elements of the choice. Yeah.
I see. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's my great pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kasım-Jomart Tokayev attended one of the key conferences in the Eurasian financial sector, Astana Finance Days. Opening the meeting, Kazakh president underscored the swift transformations in the global capital market and the shifting financial flows. He stated that these evolving challenges and changes create new opportunities for Kazakhstan. In this regard, the vital role of the Astana International Financial Center is in fostering the country's ongoing sustainable and progressive development. Traditionally, at the IIFC, global experts address crucial market topics such as fintech innovations and investment opportunities. This week, the discussions were also focused on Kazakhstan's considerable potential in these fields. For more takeaways from the event, watch the following report.
Astana Finance Day this year attracted more than 3,000 government officials, business leaders, investors, and financial experts from over 70 countries. All these people were united by Kazakhstan, as it stands one of the leading economies in Central Asia, especially in terms of advanced technologies and sustainable financial instruments. Here at the high-profile finance meeting, top industry leaders addressed key topics including optimal asset, capital management, investment strategies, and the future of payment systems. They also underscored the significance of renewable energy. Rinat Bikturov, governor of the AIFC, emphasized that the green economy is a promising area for development, with plans to attract additional capital. He noted that launching green certificates and the center's exchange will support this initiative.
Organizations producing renewable energy in our country, such as hydroelectric stations, wind farms and solar plants, could attract additional capital to further invest in and expand the green energy sector. To facilitate this, a well-organized market is needed where these entities can sell their certificates. These certificates are particularly relevant to large industrial companies, like steel producers, which emit CO2. Thus, a market is required to establish a price for these certificates. We are launching such a project on our exchange.
Additional leading female arbitrators, scholars and legal experts from across the globe convened at the International Arbitration Center of the EIFC to exchange insights and explore current trends and opportunities. The discussions highlighted that gender diversity greatly enhances international investors' trust. Experts pointed out that Kazakhstan is making significant strides in this area, setting high global standards.
We have 75% of all of our arbitrator appointments are women, not men, but women. And that is not us deciding that, that's decided by the investors, by the lawyers advising those investors. So we're really proud that we at the AIFC, and in particular at our Court and Arbitration Centre at the AIFC, are really leading the way in Kazakhstan and throughout Eurasia on diversity.
Kassym-Jomart Tokayev attended the event too, highlighting the AIFC's achievements in a short period. He pointed to the center's favorable tax, visa and labor regimes, its fair judicial system and advanced digital solutions. Despite these points, Kazakh president stressed the need for AIFC to bolster its status as a leading regional financial hub and set clear goals, including increasing foreign investment.
The center has already forged strong cooperation with the partners from the USA, Europe, the United Kingdom, and several countries across Asia and the Middle East. We are also actively promoting investment projects involving leading companies from United Arab Emirates and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. All of these efforts significantly expand the investment potential of the AIFC and Kazakhstan's economy. However, it is important to strengthen the center's interaction with the government and national institutions, as well as to continue improving the regulatory framework.
President Tokayev also highlighted the need for establishing a state insurance fund to address the impacts of natural disasters. As he noted, such financial mechanism would enable a more effective response to emergencies. Thus, the governments, in collaboration with the Financial Market Regulation and Development Agency at the EIFC, are set to explore the creation of this fund in the nearest future. Maljan Samigulina, New Time.
Kazakhstan accounted for nearly 60% of the Eurasian Development Bank's investments among its member countries, said Albrecht Conrad, head of the Directorate of Sustainability at the EDB. In an interview for New Time, he emphasized the bank's ambitions to expand its investment portfolio in the next strategic cycle. In the current cycle, which includes the 2022-2026 country strategy, the Eurasian Development Bank plans to invest at least $3.8 billion in projects in Kazakhstan. Watch the fragment of our interview for more details. Okay, Mr. Conrad, thank you very much for being here. It's actually a pleasure to talk to you. So let me start from this question. According to the Eurasian Development Bank's country strategy, for 2022-2026, it is expected to invest 3.8 billion US dollars at least. So now we're in the second half of 2024. How is this plan progressing? Could you please tell us?
So yes, our current strategy is about to be completed in the cycle, and the next upcoming strategy till 2031 is about to begin. So being very successful so far, and especially on sustainability-driven projects. Right now, our current investment portfolio is amounting more than $700 billion in renewable transportation, in sustainable transportation, renewable energy, and energy efficiency, to sit just a little bit of those types of industries and sectors that we look for to approach and to deliver our own mandate on sustainability, and of course across the board with other sectors of the economy in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and all the other member countries. So we also have on the strategy a target for 25% of our investments to be aligned and contributing to the achievement of the Sustainability Development Goals, the SDGs. That's also something that we are progressing very well, and that's also what we expect to achieve even more in the next few years to come.
Recently, I guess in June of this year, the EDB, UNDP, the Kazakh Ministry of Water Resources signed an agreement, cooperation agreement. Could you please elaborate on this agreement? What does it mean? What does it involve?
Yes, this is what we see are the water, energy, and food nexus as well. So not just UNDP and all other stakeholders that we consider very key for the achievement of climate and especially sustainability-driven objectives for our member countries, in Kazakhstan inclusive. So this is how we cooperate with UN leading agencies, with technicality that those agencies can provide to the bank, and vice versa, with our own technical assistance fund, that we can really cooperate and collaborate with co-financing opportunities and to make those bankable in our region of operations. As the bank, we have a very solid mandate to complement or even to enhance the positive impact of the operations that we have in our region with private endeavors. So basically, we're using public finance, but we use on project finance. So we work with the private sector to get what we are looking for to establish in the sense of how more impact projects like water, energy, agriculture, sustainable food systems are needed in the region. So this is how those collaborations and partnerships with UN-related institutions like UNDP and other MDBs are very crucial to get a regional bank with a very strong expertise that we have on the field. Also to get this technical standpoint very, very strong from the United Nations. So we really collaborate to make those projects affordable, bankable, and really to deliver impact on this example of water energy nexus.
Great. We know that EDB has 6 country members. It's Kazakhstan, Russia, Kyrgyz Republic, Belarus, Tajikistan, and Armenia.
Correct.
Yes, and yet we know that in 2023 Kazakhstan is accountable for, I guess, 55% of whole investments of EDB. Could you please tell us why is this share so significant compared to other countries?
Of course, yes. In the current strategic cycle, we have been focusing very much on Central Asia. And of course, Kazakhstan is one of the leading economies, the strongest economy in the region. So that's also, we see opportunities and we find and we can also sustain more bankable projects in the region, especially in Kazakhstan. So that's roughly 62% Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan in our current investment portfolio. 60% roughly is Kazakhstan composed. So yes, it's a very gross chunk of our investments, but for the next strategic cycle, we are considering, of course, how to expand even more to other countries like Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Armenia, Belarus, and the Russian Federation, but especially when we look for the smaller economies, so those latter 3 ones, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Armenia, also in addition to Kazakhstan. So we're also looking what drivers, what mechanisms can we trigger to also expand more projects, more bankable projects in those countries. So how can also we attract more international flows to cooperate and co-finance to really deliver the impact that we want in the region, especially in critical infrastructure, key investment mega projects, PPPs that we also very experienced in for.
Kazakhstan is becoming a regional financial hub with an access to the global stock markets, said Timur Turlov, CEO of Freedom Holding Corp, in an interview to my colleague Aynur Mangali. According to a businessman who runs Kazakhstan-based International Diversified Financial Services Group, being a part of an AIFC ecosystem has enabled the companies he works with to attract billions of US dollars so far. Mr. Turlov, in a presentation of his businesses to the head of state, mentioned the advantages of the AIFC as a platform for attracting foreign investments. Our company alone has raised more than 4 billion US dollars. Worth of funds for more than 60 companies on this platform, and Kazakhstan is in second place in the CIS with a huge gap. We're now seeing that Turkey, the Emirates and colleagues from Central Asia are very actively interested in our platform. We have formed a stock market, and we see now that we have strong law firms. There are international projects that are coming here. Our low cost of doing businesses is combined with the best Western practices. This speaks volumes. And let's move on. The participants of the World Nomad Games have started arriving in Astana, with the US Kokpar team among the first to land in Kazakhstan's capital. Kokpar is a traditional equestrian game where riders on a horseback compete to carry a goat carcass toward the opposing team's goal. And who better to represent the US in this sport than real cowboys? Lad Howell, the leader of the American team, admits that gathering a team of 9 players wasn't easy. Since Kokpar is not yet popular in the US, the Cowboys have had to learn the sport by watching YouTube videos. He said Kokpar reminds him of his native rodeo. Howell first participated in the 3rd World Nomad Games in Bishkek in 2018 and has been hooked ever since.
We got a lot of guys that rodeo, because our American rodeo is, we can kind of compare it with these games over here. It's very extreme equine sports, and so finding guys with like minds that like to compete on horses, they love the game. I mean, as extreme as the game is, after the game, everyone is just, the sportsmanship across the board has just been outstanding, and that's why we keep coming back. Everyone treats us so good, and when we get back home, we tell them how good it is, how cool the sport is, the culture. The culture itself in Kazakhstan and all Central Asia is so interesting to me, because this is a 3,000-year-old game. I mean, that's pretty cool for us to be a part of. So we're excited to tell people about it.
And for the last bit, an inspiring story for all the wanderers out there. A family of tourists from Turkey came to Kazakhstan to witness the World Nomad Games. You may ask, what's so special about that? Well, they did it like the real nomads, traveling by land. Burak and Idil Duran, along with their 2-year-old son, left Ankara in a small camper van on August 12. They left behind the city life and set off on an adventure across the vast continent. Today, they finally made it to our studio. Welcome to Kazakhstan. It's good to have you here. Before we move forward, let me introduce my colleague, Abdimanap Kenges, who has joined me in the studio for this interview. Abdi, I know your Turkish is brilliant, so your help would be quite necessary today. Okay, and let us start with the first question, with big question. What was whose idea it was to travel from Turkey to Kazakhstan, and most importantly, why?
Thank you, Devren. Öncelikle Burak Bey ve İdil Hanım, Kazakistan'a hoş geldiniz. Sizi böyle stüdyomuzda ağırlamaktan onur duyuyoruz.
Teşekkür ederiz.
Ve şimdi bu büyük soruyla başlamak istiyorum. Bu seyahat kimin fikriydi? Ve en önemlisi o, neden böyle karar verdiniz?
Biz aslında 7 yıldır evliyiz ve 7 yıldır biz geziyoruz. Yani trekking yapıyoruz, hiking yapıyoruz, camping yapıyoruz. Türkiye'de her yeri gezdik. 9 aydır da evimizi kapattık İstanbul'daki. Karavanımızda yaşıyoruz. Gördüğünüz gibi videoda. O bizim artık evimiz. Kazakistan bizim ilk uzun yolculuğumuz oldu. Bu fikir de şöyle çıktı. Biz zaten tanıştığımızdan beri birlikte Türk dünyasını gezme fikri hep vardı. O Turan Türk dünyasının birliği için. Ama benim daha da önceden geliyor. Çünkü benim annem Kırgız Türk'ü. 1954'te Türkiye'ye göç edilmiş. Babam Kazan Tatarı. O da 1918'de son trenle Türkiye'ye gelmişler.
Ama siz de Kazak'a benziyorsunuz.
Ben tabii yani sonuçta benziyoruz hepimiz birbirimize. Dolayısıyla da o benim hep içimde bir şey. Yani özlem, yara. Hiç unutturulmadık. Hani hep bize öğretildi, hep şey yaptık. Birlikte de hani bunun özlemi içindeydik. Daha sonra duyduk ki Kazakistan'da 5. göçebe oyunları olacak ve biz gidelim dedik. Kazakistan da sağ olsun bize davetiye yolladı. Biz de aracımızla geldik. Çünkü aracımızın adı da göçebe.
Güzel.
So Abdi, maybe you can help us with translation.
Yes, this idea was to ideal.
It's a little long story.
It's okay. It's perfectly fine
Yeah,
for us.
it was a quite wonderful journey, and they traveled from Turkey to Georgia first, and Azerbaijan, and after that they arrived in Kazakhstan.
And why did they decide to travel to Kazakhstan for World Nomad Games?
They was
Because it's about Turan. It's about all Turkish people.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They want to see travel all the Turkic world.
Yes, I see. So could you please tell us what was the hardest part of your trip?
Yes, bu yolculuğun en böyle zor kısmı neydi sizin için?
Aslında çok zor bir kısmı olmadı çünkü yollarda biz alışkınız. Şöyle düşünün, dünyanın ilk karayolu dedikleri Like yolu var Fethiye'de. Bu yol 540 kilometre keçilerin yürüdüğü bir patika yol. Dağlardan iniyorsunuz. Yani biz böyle yollarda sırt çantasıyla yürüdüğümüz için 540 kilometreden bahsediyoruz. Yani bunları yürüyen bir kişi için zorluk olmuyor. Bizim atalarımız zaten atla dünyayı dolaşmış insanlar. Yani bir 1982 model arabanın içinde ısıtıcımız var, benzinimiz var. Yani bunun daha ne kadar zorlayabilir ki bizi? O yüzden çok zorlanmadık. Hatta ve hatta Kazakistan bizi çok keyifle karşıladı. Yol zorluktan çok heyecanlı bir anlam kattı bize. Doğanız bizi zaten bizden aldı. O yüzden hiçbir zorluk yaşamadık.
Evet. But the hardest part from this journey was the length of the road, and apart from that, everything was great.
Oh, that's great. And how was they welcomed in Kazakhstan? Could you please ask?
Yes. Peki Kazakistan sizi nasıl karşıladı?
Muhteşemdi. Yani öncelikle hani hem Kazakistan Cumhuriyeti'ne, Türk Cumhuriyeti'ne, Azerbaycan Cumhuriyeti'ne çok teşekkür ederiz. Çünkü yol 5 yıldır kapalı sivillere. Bu konuda çok destek oldular Türk Birliği'nden geçtiğimiz için. Ve Kazakistan'a geldiğimiz andan itibaren bütün bölgelerinizdeki valilikler, belediyeler, halk, güvenlik teşkilatları bize hep eşlik ettiler. Eksiğiniz var mı dediler. Hep yardım ettiler. Çok güzeldi.
Belediye başkanlarınız, valileriniz, kültür ateşeleriniz, herkes yol boyunca belde belde bizi durdurup bayraklarıyla, şubatlarıyla, kımızlarıyla, domralarıyla, müzikleriyle bizi karşıladılar. Gurur duyduk. Türkiye bizimle gurur duydu. Yani sizin bize verdiğiniz hürmet bizim Türk milletimizi daha da gururlandırdı.
Evet. Of course, they were welcomed in Kazakhstan, warmly welcomed, and with friendly locals and incredible hospitality. You know, our shashu and artists with dombra, like.
That's great. Unfortunately, we don't have much time, so my last question would be, so what are your hopes for World Nomad Games and who will you support besides Turkey, of course? Which team?
Yes. Bu göçebe oyunlarından sizin bekledikleriniz nelerdir? Ve evet, Türkiye hariç hangi takımı tutuyorsunuz? Sordum ama.
Biz orada birliği görmek istiyoruz, Türk birliğini ve dünyadaki diğer ülkelerin nasıl heyecanla, hani çünkü dünyanın birçok yerinden yarışmacı katılıyor, onu gördük. Onlar nasıl hani orada uğraşacaklar kazanmak için, onu görmek istiyoruz. Ama Kazakistan'ın çok güçlü olduğunu biliyoruz takımlarda. İyi olan kazansın ama bizim için o önemli değil. Oradaki o heyecan, o değil mi? O an, o birlik, beraberlik daha önemli.
Evet, evet. Teşekkür ederiz.
Biz teşekkür ederiz.
They said that Nomad Games will highlight the culture and the friendship of the Turkic people and strengthen global bonds. I fully agree with them, Devren.
Yes, that's great. I hope you like the World Nomad Games, you will enjoy it, and I hope you will enjoy time in Kazakhstan. So thank you for this interview, thank you for being here. And Abdi, thank you for your help. It wouldn't be possible without you, actually.
Thank you.
And on this remarkable family story, I have to say, that's it for today. All the main news about Kazakhstan and Central Asia you can find here. More special projects about our country you can also watch on Silkway TV channel. So stay tuned and see you next week.